my farer. Which weapon shall I strengthen? Leave it to me. It's a great success. All right, let's do it. That went well. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, put a little love into it.
Take a closer look at that fine piece of smithery you've got there? I gotta say, Captain, you sure settle for nothing less than the best. This thing has been honed to near perfection, and I've got a special client that can take top-notch equipment to the next level. If you're interested, just say the word. What you in the market for? Thanks to my secret method, you can enhance your weapons beyond their natural limits. Patent pen. And we'll buff those weapons till they lean, mean, damaged you. Good luck out there!
I'm all ears. What you got? We buy everything. Come again.
Come to the shop and have a look around. You won't be sorry.
Need something?
My premonition proved correct.
His lordship finds himself in need of your assistance once more.
Hans's voice was almost apologetic. What troubles him?
You remember the record we found on our previous trek, don't you?
I nodded. The Lord of Grossgard was searching for a family heirloom, and this record detailed its whereabouts. However, the directions were written in code, which Ludwin had yet to decipher.
He told me, and I quote, "Hans, don't you dare bother the charming and brave Lancelot over a mere trifle." But he hasn't made any headway on his own, and I've no doubt he's secretly yearning for your aid.
I looked at the butler with some confusion. Hans, I recall you saying you'd already completed the trial with Ludwin's father.
Indeed.
Then your assistance would be far more valuable than mine.
Come now, it is a butler's duty to serve his liege's best interests, and Lord Ludwin's shall be best served with my silence.
I suppose Ludwin would never grow if Hans simply led him to the answers. Better that we pieced out the puzzle together. Very well. I accept your request.
I thank you, on behalf of his lordship.
Now I was beginning to grasp at the deeper meaning behind these tests. Hans took me to Grosgard. As an artist's soul is mirrored in their brushstrokes, so too is a lord's character reflected in the state of their dominion. Everywhere, you could see Ludwin's gentle touch. From the full fields, to the content faces of the farmers, to the laughter of children and adults alike that filled the air.
What do you think of our humble land?
I tore my eyes away from the bright orchards and turned to Hans. It's beautiful. It may not be large or bustling, but I've never been to such a peaceful dukedom.
I'm sure his lordship will be pleased to hear that assessment.
Suddenly, I found myself curious. Earlier, you said that the ancestral trials would teach Ludwin how to rule. But judging from what I've seen here, he is already a capable lord. What more would you like him to learn? Hans smiled tenderly, as a grandfather might when speaking of a beloved grandchild.
I should have known an avid scholar like yourself would read between the lines. Make no mistake, Ludwin is not a perfect leader yet, but it is not my place to discuss his flaws.
Then tell me this. Are his flaws related to his family's inability to fight?
Let us call it a starting thread, but the full tapestry is so much more.
I decided not to pry. I already had the information I needed to guide Ludwin through his trial.
Sir Lancelot? I don't remember sending for you.
Of course, the Lord was surprised to see me. Although friendly, I was a rogue element in a world where this man had control of nearly everything. I have come at the request of Hans. He would like me to assist you in deciphering the tome.
I see. Hans does have a knack for meddling in his lord's affairs, but I welcome you all the same because, to tell the truth, I'm getting absolutely nowhere.
I smiled, despite myself. It was nice to meet a noble who wasn't spilling over with pride. Hans beckoned me to his desk, and I leaned over the old tome.
What do you make of it? This must be child's play for a famed warrior scholar.
He looked at me with expectant eyes. I'm sorry, but I can't decipher this. We will need to enlist the help of an expert. Expectation turned to astonishment.
Lancelot, though you fight like a storm, your mind is as clear as the stillest of ponds. I can't believe you'd need to ask for assistance.
Can't you? Every second I spend on the battlefield is a second away from the library. Ludwin hesitated a while longer, but when I strode to the door and held it open for him, he sighed and relented. No one in either of our circles was well versed in ciphers, but that was a matter of small concern. I knew an information broker. Zothba put me in touch with a language scholar who delivered a key to us within a fortnight.
Well, I'll be. The clue was in the names of my ancestors.
Ludwin stood up behind his desk and stretched, and the lines of care and worry melted from his face. He must have had many sleepless nights poring over the withered pages of the tome alone.
Thank you, Sir Lancelot. I can finally read the damn thing. It's only a matter of time now until I find the sword.
It was my pleasure. I look forward to news of your success. But I already knew. Before the unearthing of the blade, Hans would come to visit me one last time. I was half right. It was not Hans, but Ludwin himself who showed up at our doorstep.
I deciphered the record, and I know where the sword is buried!
He was so excited he completely forwent pleasantries.
I know I should go alone, with Hans of course, but the tome says we must fly to Skyworm Valley, which is riddled with monsters. It's a terrible place for a lord to be made into dragon kibble.
I knew what he wanted me to say. Very well. Please, allow me to accompany you.
Really? Wonderful! I mean, only if you wish.
This must have been the flaw Hans was alluding to. Ludwin was afraid of his own power. He dreaded the responsibilities that came with leadership. The lords of Grossgard were not warriors and hadn't been for generations. They depended on their subjects for protection, but as I'd learned, Ludwin was loath to do so. Up until now, this has not posed a problem. Small skirmishes were all that troubled the peace of his dukedom. But what would happen should a great war march on his borders? Would his honor eventually spur him to the front lines? To death? The place of a lord and general is with the rear guard. There, they must order the battle and conduct diplomatic affairs. But it is hard, sitting and conversing in safety while your soldiers are risking their lives. As captain of the White Dragons, I knew this better than anyone. You feel as if every death is on your head. At last, I had come to fully understand Ludwin. If these trials, as Hans said, could help him come into his own, then I would do everything in my power to guide him to victory. The day arrived. Ludwin, Hans, myself, and a few more compatriots met outside of Skyworm Valley.
Lancelot, thank you for coming, but I wasn't aware there would be others with you. Who are these people?
He looked with wide eyes at the rest of the crew, whom he had never met before. I have heard terrible monsters lurk in these parts. Alone, I would not have been able to guarantee your safety. These are my crewmates, each one a warrior of great strength and honor.
Not that I don't appreciate their presence, but Sir Lancelot, surely a knight of your caliber could cut through these beasts with both hands tied behind your back.
Chance, my lord, is as unpredictable as the weather. A wise skyfarer prays for a gentle current, but prepares for a vicious storm. Ludwin nodded thoughtfully.
Very well. Best I leave the knighting to the knights.
The white dragon unfurls its wings. Come. Are you ready to begin the trial?
It's now or never. Let go.
The day is wasting away. We must go, Lancelot.
Hey, look! The welcome squad!
Our attacks aren't working! Is this part of the trial?
Wait, I remember. The record said a single link does not a chain make.
So, fighting one at a time won't work? Let's hit it all at once!
Very well. On Lancelot's mark.
Follow! You have my aid!
Allow me! It's working.
Seems your
Very
blade
clever,
has not
Vane.
lost its edge.
Neither has
Think
yours.
Free called me clever.
Silence. If not for Lord Ludwin's counsel, you would have been lost.
We make
You
a good
did it!
team.
You really did it, baby!
Barely a
I
trifle.
only wish I'd have been of more use.
Don't worry about it. We've all got stuff we're good and bad at.
There is no shame in seeking help from others. It builds trust.
Yes, trust. That is all we ask from you, Lord Ludwin.
Looks like we've reached the second trial. There are so many spirits around.
We'd best fight in formation. This may be similar to the previous trial.
Very well. Leave the vanguard to me.
Go team! We're gonna be so in sync.
Wait. I'm about to see 4 legendary knights in battle at once? Keepers to behold!
Work is not yet done.
Let us press on then.
These blind attacks aren't working. We need to coordinate.
It seems your blade has not lost its edge.
And neither has yours. Wide open.
Now,
Seize them. I'm behind. I'll follow.
let me at it.
We act in perfect harmony.
These blind attacks aren't working. We need to coordinate. Push forward. Have at them.
Into the
not
fray!
gonna
Does it for
like
the second trial?
Superb teamwork.
Too easy, Lancelot?
Not at all.
Give yourself more
We've only made
credit.
smooth progress thanks to the team.
We fought alongside each other for years. This was nothing.
What is that thing? It's huge!
Jealousy. It is a dead soul, given form by evil spirits.
The dead? I never thought about the fight the dead!
Retreat! Go! Remain calm. We can handle this.
You can't know that for sure! Stars above, if anything were to happen to you because of my weakness!
My Lord Ludwig, I ask that you listen to Lancelot. Place your trust in us.
My noble guys! We're Total Dream Team! A big blood quartet!
The wolf finds hardest when its back against the wall.
Understood. Do not falter.
Very well. Lancelot believed in this team. So shall I.
I will reclaim my honor. You won't prevail. Let's finish this. Into the fray. Keep your eyes forward.
I shall light the way. A fair
You face the fight of the White Race. Fight Boozle.
Let's win this thing! Mercy!
Seize your bark.
Return to the abyss!
Siegfried.
just like always.
Only death awaits!
For glory. Absolute zero.
It was a sight to behold,
Surrender.
wasn't it?
Wide open. Parry this. Once more.
Push through! Let me lead the fires of war!
Attack. You're mine.
Assault formation.
Understood.
This is power!
On guard. You won't prevail. Quite the improvement. On me.
Stand
Understood.
still.
Away with ball. Wide open. For forward.
Oh, they want to go, huh?
You took down all those monsters. That was lies.
Well, the chest awaits you, my lord. Open it and claim your prize.
Ah, yes. Of course.
One blade for truth, one for honor. After numerous trials, we arrived at last in front of a lone treasure chest.
If it hadn't been for your help, Sir Lancelot, I wouldn't have made it this far. I fear I won't ever be able to repay this debt.
There is no debt between us. But do not trouble yourself about me. Look now to your prize. With trembling hands, Ludwin undid the clasps of the chest and lifted from it a sheathed sword.
The blade of my forebears. It's, lighter than I thought it would be.
Carefully, he drew forth the weapon.
What's the meaning of this? It's just a hilt!
Ludwin was the very picture of distress. But I saw through the riddle at once. A sword with no blade. A weapon that could neither defend nor slay. It was a message left by the first lords of Grosgard for their scions. Gently, I cleared my throat. Perhaps, my lord, it was meant to be a hilt, and a hilt alone.
What? Why would my ancestors bequeath unto me a hunk of metal?
You will find the answer to this puzzle, as you have to all the others. Slowly, Ludwin's grip on the blade relaxed, and he began to turn it over in his hands.
Fine. I'll give it a bit more thought.
Sir Lancelot, you really think his lordship will be able to figure it out?
On our way back, Hans fell in beside me to take whispered counsel. What does your heart tell you? You have been at his side all these years. Hans made no reply, but I saw the shadow pass from his face and a soft light come into his eyes.
Need something?
The third day after we had returned, Ludwin came calling.
I've got it! The meaning behind our family heirloom!
With great reverence, he laid his hand on the hilt, which was sheathed at his hip.
At last, the pieces of the puzzle are gathered and the picture is whole. The tome in the mountains, the message in code, the chest guarded by monsters, and the sword without a blade.
Ludwin laughed dryly.
Sir Lancelot, I love this land, passed down to me by my forebears. I love its gentle rills, its rolling hills, its honest laborers, and its noble warriors. I would do anything to keep them from harm.
But he could not fight his own battles. He spoke of one such conflict that occurred within his dukedom. He was forced to flee to safer grounds, while the blood of his people mingled with the dirt. The guilt ever gnawed at him, robbing him of his happiness and repose. In the midst of his troubles, Hans told him of a legendary blade. The young lord grew convinced that this sword would bestow upon him the strength he needed to protect his own.
I wanted to be everything for my people. A great warrior like you, and also a wise general, and a benevolent lord. But now I see that one person does not make a country. I am the hilt which guides the sword.
And the people are the blade, which are its strength, leader and follower. One is lost without the other. Emotion stirred within me, and I drew a trembling breath. My lord, we are more alike than you think. There was a time when I blamed myself every time I lost a knight. I tried to shoulder the burdens of my kingdom alone, thinking I was protecting everyone. But I was wrong. for my fall would have meant the ruin of all. Ludwin nodded.
You're right. I'm done tearing myself into pieces, trying to play 100 roles at once. My people are counting on me to guide them, and so I shall, with this sword.
He drew the hilt from its sheath. Look to your own duties, and trust your comrades to fulfill theirs. That is all we can do.
I won't ever forget this lesson, Sir Lancelot. I swear upon my ancestors that from this hour henceforth I shall dedicate myself to becoming the fair and wise lord that Grosgard deserves.
The clouds of doubt were gone from Ludwin's eyes. He had found his path at last. And I had been reminded of something important. It was true that leadership and responsibility acted as shackles, but they were also anchors, providing safety and stability on a sea of uncertainty. Months later, word reached me concerning a Lord Ludwin of Grosgard. It was said he had no great strength of arms, but his wit and will were edged sharper than steel. Under his rule, the people lived in peace, and their fields were ever gold. But the young lord never accepted praise for his deeds. He always spoke of the loyalty of his subjects and the wisdom of a foreign knight. It seems his idolatry of me still hasn't changed. But as Ludwin has grown into his title, perhaps I too should learn to bear my mantle with pride. I am Lancelot, captain of the White Dragons, and son of Vidrock.
Have a good day. Need something?
My dream is to become a hero. I know, kind of stupid, right? I get that you can't just snap your fingers and poof, you're in a cape with your first initial plastered over your chest. But let's face it, the world we live in could really use some heroes. Feels like every day I come across some new, sad story. Where's the harm in wishing for more sunshine? Anyways, I know heroes really do exist. I was saved by one. Well, saved might be an exaggeration, but I was a timid little squirt and he was always there for me. He was just so darn cool. I wanted to be brave like him. I wanted to protect people like him. Eventually, my hero left our hometown to become a knight. If I was going to follow in his footsteps, then that meant I needed to take up the old helm and armor too. Wasn't sure if a weak crybaby like me would ever amount to much. But hey, whoever changed the future by getting hung up on the past? You probably already figured this out, but this hero I've been talking about? None other than my childhood friend, Lancey. And let me tell you, he's like something out of a fairy tale. Brave, smart, strong. Back in the day, all the grown-ups would call him a prodigy. If it wasn't for him, I might have never become the shining knight of Fiendrock that I am today. Man, I still have a long way to go. I won't stop until I'm the best me I can possibly be. Here's a story from way before I became vice captain of the White Dragons. One day, I was waiting for Lancey at a harbor in Fiendrock. When hours passed and he still didn't show, I started to get nervous. The sound of the surf, which had been super calming until then, turned dark and whispery. Weird, but okay. Snooping around, I found out the true dragon Fafnir had returned. The royal powers that be were putting together a force to beat him. And of course, the person leading it was the captain of the White Dragons, Lancey. My best friend was about to march into the jaws of a literal fire-breathing lizard, and he was gonna do it without me. I couldn't let that happen. In a panic, I started back for the capital. So there I was, rushing along, worried half out of my mind, when I met the Grand Cypher's captain for the first time. Apparently, the crew was also headed for the capital of Fiendrock, so I told him to stick with me. More the merrier, right? Except, I wasn't exactly merry. And the captain could see that. Unable to stand it any longer, I spilled my heart out. I talked about the divide between me and Lancey. About how all I ever wanted was to be there for him, on and off the battlefield. But for every baby step forward I took, Lancey soared. I was weaker than him, ranked lower than him. I wasn't enough. And this whole Fafnir business had just driven everything home. Everyone had immediately gone to Lancey, asking him to lead the way, save the day. On the other hand, I didn't get so much as a backwards glance, so I was just some random foot soldier. What? I didn't get to whine when my best friend was out there risking his life. I needed to stop feeling sorry for myself and put in the work so I could start feeling proud instead. Lancey's a born fighter and a genius. He's also human. The pressure on him is crushing. I had to get strong enough to support him. Hearing this, the captain asked if I wanted to join the crew. Of course, I would never quit the White Dragons, but maybe a temporary change in direction was what I needed. I'd run myself into a rut. New scenery, fresh perspective, all part of a healthy breakfast for a growing boy like me. So I took the offer, determined to go back to the White Dragons bigger and better than ever. But I digress. Back to the Fafnir problem. All you really need to know is, it spiraled way out of control. The fate of the kingdom hangs in the balance kind of stuff. Thanks to Lancey and the captain, Fiendrock managed to find its way back to normalcy. And me? I've been changed forever. Though we'd been fighting a dragon, I ended up learning a lot about people. Their strengths, weaknesses, what scared us, made us tick. Had some people pass out of my life, and others come into it. My eyes were open to a lot of things, and not all of it pretty. But I'll take it, because it's the sum of our experiences, the good and the bad, that make us who we are. Fast forward in time, and bam! Your boy Vane's vice captain of the White Dragons. Took big dreaming, a lot of hard work, and a hefty helping of best friend anxiety, but I got there. Now, don't get me wrong, rank, titles, all that stuff's just words, you know? What kid doesn't like getting a gold star? And this was a big, shiny gold star that said, "Congratulations, you're on your way to becoming a hero." Plus, now I got to be part of all the important security meetings. If Lancey needed help, I'd be the first to know. For once, I was feeling pretty confident in myself. Vice captains have it tough, but I was more than happy to do the work. It wasn't all smooth sailing, though. After a few months, some nasty rumors began circulating through the barracks. People were saying I got my job through nepotism, just because I was friends with Lancey. It was kind of a dark time. I've been trying to come up with things that I accomplished when I realized there were none. At least, nothing that I'd accomplished on my own. This whole time, I'd just been riding on other people's coattails. The captain, as always, lent me a shoulder to cry on, and we agreed to meet up again in a few days. But when the time came, two, burlier figures were standing beside the captain, Siegfried and Percival. They were there to spar with me and judge, once and for all, if I deserved to be vice captain of the White Dragons. I definitely teared up a little. These were two of the people I looked up to most in the world. They could take whatever I threw at them. My hopes, my insecurities, the lessons I learned. I put everything I had into that battle. And in return, Siegfried and Percival gave me everything they had. Fighting the two of them was as intense as you'd expect. But once I got over my throbbing calves and aching deltoids, I felt really lucky. I had good people looking out for me. They showed me how far I'd come, and I could go the distance. I went back to the castle determined to hide everything from Lancey. He had enough on his plate. But you know how best friends are. Trying to keep secrets from them is like trying to hide an onion in a muffin. He cornered me. So, with nowhere left to run, I spilled the beans. Told him how the rumors had drained my confidence, and I didn't feel good enough to be his vice captain. Or his best bud. I felt horrible. I had the greatest friends in the skies telling me they believed in me. And still, I couldn't believe in myself. Lancey waited for me to get everything off my chest before speaking.
Vane, I recommended you for vice captain because I considered you the most qualified. The motion passed because the king and the White Dragons felt the same way.
And just like that, a weight was lifted. Seems like all I really needed was to know my best friend trusted me. And now that we re-established this trust, there was only one thing left to do. Beat each other silly. We snuck out to the training grounds in the middle of the night and sparred until our legs gave out. Then, we lay spread eagle on the ground, looking up at the stars. Those little twinkling dots were so inspiring. They're out there, a billion miles away. But still, their light manages to reach us. My dream of becoming a hero might be far off. But if the stars can make the trip, so can I. So this next adventure began on a day in Zega Grande like any other. The sun was shining, the birds were chirping, and I was soaking up some rays after a pleasant morning of grocery shopping. That's when I heard it.
Long live the Blue Sky Knights!
Yes, the fierce cry of a child in its natural habitat. Enough to strike fear into the heart of any warrior.
I've never seen you around here. Intruder alert! Intruder alert! Knights, assemble! Cannonball formation!
They came hurtling at me, faster than the wind. I stood no chance.
We're the Blue Sky Knights, servers of justice and roasters of villains. Who goes there?
But all jokes aside, these tykes were adorable. Reminded me of my own days playing Knights and Dragons. With both hands in the air, I thought long and hard about how to respond. I for sure didn't want to pull out my usual, "I'm Vane, Vice Captain of the White Dragons." I mean, capturing a real knight while playing make-believe could be an awkward sitch for the kids. But it also wouldn't be right to lie. Then, a candle lit up over my head. I'm Vane, the wayfaring chef.
Wait, you're a chef? That means you're an expert at brewing stews and baking pastries, correct?
I blinked. I hadn't expected such an energetic response. What? Oh yeah, and I've got the proof right here. I pulled out a bag of cookies, which may or may not have been meant for Vern and Lyria, but they'd understand, right? I'll bake them some more. Anyways, passed out the cookies, and in the space of a few bites, the tots were leaping around like it was their birthday. And yes, before you say anything, I do realize that bribing the future defenders of our sky with munchies might not have been the best for character building. But you should have seen their smiles.
You have some potential, Sir Chef. I'll let you cook for us as our square. I'm Skip, by the way, captain of the Blue Sky Knights.
We were on to headhunting already? These kids didn't mess around. I'm honored, Captain Skip. But to tell the truth, I'm kind of busy right now. Oh no. They were hitting me with the pout of despair and the eyes of the puppy dog. I bit my lip. This little game wouldn't take too long, right? Still, it has always been my dream to cook for the Blue Sky Knights. Squire Vane, at your service. I just didn't have it in me to rain on their parade. After dubbing me in a formal ceremony, Captain Skip raised his tiny fist in the air.
We got our chef. Next, we have to search for a base. Split up, soldiers. We meet back here in 1 hour.
The rest of the kids responded with a rousing cheer. And then, they were off.
Hey, Sir Chef, that means you too.
I saluted. Couldn't disobey direct orders from a commanding officer. Anyways, I still had time to spare. I was gonna find these kids the coolest base ever. Yeah! They won't know what hit them! Captain said there's some good spots around here. Just gotta make sure they're safe. Nah, no clays. Shady and secure is good, but hard pass on the claustrophobia. Whoops! Looks like this place is already occupied. Done and dusted. Now, let's look for safer real estate.
Or nothing!
More monsters. This is definitely not a kid-friendly joint. That was a workout and a half. I think I might be in monster territory. Man, Clancy and I used to love exploring the woods. It's a party up in here! But it looks like I wasn't invited. And now that that's over, back to the search. Spacious, but a dead end like this could be dangerous. No monsters, perfect size and location? Wait. I think I see a path on the other side of that thicket. I bet it leads to Folka. Captain Skip! I think I found it! I led the kids to a sweet glade I discovered in the woods. It was right next to a big thoroughfare, so they wouldn't have to worry about monsters or getting lost. I mean, if I could find my way back, then anyone could. Still, the place was surrounded by some nifty bushes and trees that shaded it from prying eyes. All in all, I think I did pretty well. And judging from all the frolicking going on, the Tykes agreed. Captain Skip pulled out a handmade flag that he'd apparently just been carrying around and stuck it in the ground.
This land is now the hideout of the Blue Sky Knights!
And sure, the thought, technically knights don't have hideouts, flashed into my mind, but you can't expect kids to know that. Actually, you know what? These Tykes might be onto something. Maybe I should ask Lancey for our own secret base later. Anyway, for the time being, I was in what had to be one of the top 10 hideouts in all the skies. I found a nice, plush patch of moss and plopped down. It was a good day. Love it. Hey, not bad. Ooh, neat. Yeah. Oh yeah, get swole. Nice. Not bad. Ooh, neat.
Infinite power!